Over the last few days, we have seen clearly what's at stake in this election. The news from Wall Street has shaken the American people's faith in our economy. The situation with Lehman Brothers and other financial institutions is the latest in a wave of crises that have generated enormous uncertainty about the future of our financial markets. This is serious. This is a major threat to our economy and its ability to create good-paying jobs and help working Americans pay their bills, to help Americans save for their futures and make their mortgage payments. And since this turmoil began over a year ago, the housing market has all but collapsed. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac had to be effectively taken over by the government. 3 of America's 5 largest investment banks failed or have been sold off in distress. Yesterday, Wall Street suffered its worst losses since just after 9/11. We are in the most serious financial crisis in generations. Yet, Senator McCain stood up yesterday and said that the fundamentals of the economy are strong. That's what he said. Now, a few hours later, his campaign sent him back out to clean up his remarks. And he tried to explain himself again this morning by saying that what he meant to say was that the American workers are strong. But we know that Senator McCain meant what he said the first time, because he has said it over and over again throughout this campaign, no fewer than 16 times, according to one independent count. Now, I raise this not because I fault Senator McCain for all the problems we're facing right now, but I do fault the economic philosophy that Senator McCain subscribes to. Because the truth is, what Senator McCain said yesterday fits with the same economic philosophy that he's had for the last 26 years. It's the philosophy that says we should give more and more to those with the most and hope that prosperity trickles down. It's the philosophy that says even common sense regulations are unnecessary and unwise. It's a philosophy that lets Washington lobbyists shred consumer protections and distort our economy so it works for the special interests instead of working people. And we've had this philosophy for 8 years. They call it the ownership society, but what it really means is that you're on your own. And we know the results. You feel it in your own lives. Jobs have disappeared. People's life savings have been put at risk. Millions of families face foreclosure, and millions more have seen their home values plummet. The cost of everything from gas to groceries to health care has gone up, while the dream of a college education for our kids and a secure and dignified retirement for our seniors feels like it's slowly slipping away. These are the struggles that Americans are facing. This is the pain that has now trickled up. So let's be clear. What we've seen the last few days is nothing less than the final verdict on an economic philosophy that has completely failed. And I am running for President of the United States because the dream of the American people must not be endangered anymore. It is time to put an end to the broken system in Washington that is breaking the American economy. It's time for change that makes real difference in your lives. It's time for a government that is fighting for you, not ignoring you or fighting against you. We need leadership like the governor in Colorado is providing to build a new energy economy. We need leadership like the mayor's providing, investing in infrastructure and education. That's the kind of leadership we need in Washington and in the White House. That's what I intend to provide. We need common sense, practical leadership, and economic stewardship that focuses on the American people. And if you want to understand the difference between how Senator McCain and I would govern as president, you can start by taking a look at how we've responded to this crisis. Because Senator McCain's approach was the same as the Bush administration's: support ideological policies that made the crisis more likely, do nothing as the crisis hits, and then scramble as the whole thing unravels. Now, my approach has been to try to prevent this turmoil from occurring in the first place. In February of 2006, I introduced legislation to stop mortgage transactions that promoted fraud, risk, or abuse. A year later, before the crisis hit, I warned Secretary Paulson at the Treasury and Chairman Bernanke of the Fed about the risks of mounting foreclosures and urged them to bring together all the stakeholders to find solutions to the subprime mortgage meltdown. Senator McCain did nothing. Last September, I stood up at NASDAQ and said it's time to realize that we are in this together, that there is no dividing line between Wall Street and Main Street, and warned of a growing loss of trust in our capital markets. Months later, Senator McCain told a newspaper that he'd love to give them a solution to the mortgage crisis, but, and I quote, "I don't know one." In January, I outlined a plan to help revive our faltering economy, which formed the basis for a bipartisan stimulus package that passed the Congress. Senator McCain used the crisis as an excuse to push a so-called stimulus plan that offered another huge and permanent corporate tax cut, including $4 billion for the big oil companies, but no immediate help for workers. This March, in the wake of the Bear Stearns bailout, I called for a new 21st century regulatory framework to restore accountability, transparency, and trust in our financial markets. Just a few weeks earlier, Senator McCain made it clear where he stands. Quote, "I'm always for less regulation," unquote, and referred to himself as, quote, "fundamentally a deregulator." This is what happens when you confuse the free market with a free license to let special interests take whatever they get, however they can get it.